Welcome to short highlights of the 84th edition of Gent-Wevelgem in Flanders Fields with me, Jez Cox. Very light winds for the start of today's race as the riders lined up with Wout van Aert as the big favourite, having won the E3 on Friday. Everyone expected and watched the boys in black and yellow. They've had such an incredible start to this year. Pressure on the shoulders of the Belgian road race champion. The course for the 84th edition of Gent-Wevelgem heading back out to the coast towards the North Sea and coming back along De Moeren. The expected high winds not there as they were 1 year ago, so the race unlikely to be smashed apart. The big hills, the cobbled sectors, including of course those 3 ascents of the Kemmelberg, coming much later on in the race. From about 15k in, we had a 7-man breakaway, including Nikias Arndt, Jelle Wallace, Ludovic Robiet, Alexander Konishev, Lars Sorgstad, Lindsay de Wilde and Johan Jacobs. Behind, the peloton quite happy to let them do that. The teams of Alpecin Phoenix and Quick-Step Alpha Vinyl really doing the lion's share of the gentle pressure at the front. Of course, as you'd expect along the way, on the dust-covered concrete roads either side of De Moeren, a few crashes, 1 or 2. Thankfully, most of the news reaching us, riders involved in them, were up and okay. But the crashes, of course, caused splits in our main peloton and an awful lot of effort being used with just 100k left to chase back on before we went into the ascents of the Kemmelberg and the Plugstreets, which really characterise Gent-Wevelgem these days, these plough streets, the farm tracks that take in the middle sector before those 2 ascents, or in between those 2 ascents of the Kemmelberg. First time up, it was Kasper Asgreen looking to try and turn around his fortunes this season for Quick-Step Alpha Vinyl, and already at this stage, he and his team under some pretty extreme pressure in the sunshine. The little splits that were being caused were distancing some of the big favourites in this race too, and the breakaway was getting closer to being reeled back in as we went into those Plugstreets. Jumbo-Visma trying to control things at the front end as well. Ludovic Robiet was really unfortunate to puncture out of that breakaway as well, and Johan Jacobs of Movistar using the opportunity to attack and try and go clear. Eventually, our breakaway was absorbed by a very select leading group. Some of them managed to hang on, and in doing so would play their part later on in this race as well. The last time onto the Kemmelberg, an opportunity for Wout van Aert to try and test people. He sat on the wheel of Kasper Asgreen, waited. You can see the Belgian champion just on the wheel of Asgreen here, waiting his opportunity to kick, and it was coming. The descent back down through the woods, an opportunity to regroup. And all the time, Groupama FDJ, they're in very good numbers. The French team having a great day out in Gent-Wevelgem. This was the moment that Wout van Aert chose to use the steeper side of the Kemmelberg, the Ossuaire, as an opportunity to try and distance himself. Christophe Laporte, his teammate, looking across, as you can see, not easing off, but actually trying to get onto Wout van Aert's wheel, taking with him Mads Pedersen, Jasper Stuyven also right there, and Wout van Aert exiting that steeper side of the Kemmelberg with a slight advantage that would gradually be closed up to form a very select leading group. This is the moment at which fans thought they might be watching Wout van Aert riding away from that leading group, but it wasn't to be quite like that. Matej Mohoric using, if anything, his descending skills once again to come off the back of the Kemmelberg and work his way up to it. Wout van Aert did everything he could to try and thrive things on, but not quite enough cooperation within that group, and once again things started to reform. The 2 groups that had split over the top of the climb coming back together, and this was the moment that the final and decisive split would be made. Christophe Laporte, the Frenchman, now riding for the Dutch team Jumbo-Visma, what an incredible start to the year he has had. And that was the moment at which 4 riders went clear. And I can tell you, they were never to be seen again. Jasper Stuyven was the next of those to come through, the Trek Segafredo man in the white jersey there. And on his shoulder, as they went under 3k to go, in the yellow and blue, was Biniam Gourmet, the Eritrean rider from Africa, in the colours of Intermarché Wanty Gobert. Christophe Laporte, in the end, as they came into the finish in Wevelgem, left on the front and left, really, you would think, to lead things out. But he didn't have long to wait, because launching from the back was the African rider, the sort of surprise package to be in that leading group. But come the sprint, there was no surprise about it. The first African winner, the Eritrean Biniam Girmay, taking the win in the 84th edition of Gent-Wevelgem. What a massive moment in his career, but also in the evolving history of our sport, as the sport continues on both the men's and women's side to broaden its reach and to spread beyond the heartland of cycling. Biniam Girmay stepping up for a monumental performance and a massive moment in our great sport. Wonderful to see, and richly deserved too. What a great start to the season he has had. He's heading back actually to Eritrea to spend time, as he's been away for a while, spend time with his wife and family. He will miss the Tour of Flanders next weekend. There's the result confirmed. Well, Girmay may be missing the Tour of Flanders. Make sure you don't though. It's all going to be here at the home of cycling. Don't forget, you can check back the whole of this on the GCN app, and you'll want to, because it was quite some race today at Gent-Wevelgem in Flanders Fields. Until the next time, from me, Jez Cox, enjoy the racing. It's going to be quite some week.